I'd like to call to order the Parks Board meeting for Monday, the 24th, 2021. First thing we're going to do is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball. I can count on you, man. Mr. Bruce, we have any citizens' comments, sir?
No, sir. I just checked. There was no citizens signed up.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope you've had a chance to look over the minutes for last month. I will accept the motion to
Make a motion.
Mr. Pike first. Ms. Bowler second. Discussion? No. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, good enough. Get that out of the way. Okay, under the order of park project updates, Mr. Gilley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The inline hockey relocation project is underway. We have a construction meeting tomorrow morning. So far, things are going pretty smooth out there with that. Looks like still on track to complete late in the fall, hopefully. We'll keep you all updated if we have any changes. You'll see a side renovation project on soccer fields 10 and 12. We've kind of got those shut down for some work there that needs to take place so that we can get those fields back up to some kind of condition where we can use them a little more often. Other than that, projects are kind of on hold right now till we get the new budget and find out what's going on there. More daily maintenance at this point with everything we have going on. So if anybody has any questions, I will take them.
Thank you, sir. If for those on the board that weren't there and people, like we say, both people that watch these meetings, if you hadn't had a chance to go out there and look at that site, it's pretty dadgum impressive. Mr. P-Brain here didn't have any idea of the scope of what was going on out there, so I have a feeling that's going to be quite a thing indeed. Franklin will be envious of us finally. All right. Facility use agreement discussion, Mr. Gilley, Mr. Long.
I'll do the best I can. Dallas can help me if he needs to. We've been asked by the mayor to review all of our policies, things like facility use agreements, and then over the course of the next couple months, we will have concession agreements, our athletic policies, different things like that come to you all to review. Then we will take whatever recommendations we have, come back to you all. I didn't want to put this for a vote tonight. Any discussion that you all have, suggestions with our facility use agreement as it is currently, we can kind of take your thoughts on that and come back next month and have you all kind of approve any changes that we make, and we'll take those to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and any changes would go effect in, I believe, January of 2022. At that point, I don't want to rush. I want to make sure the leagues have plenty of notice if there's any changes. I want to make sure you all have ample time to submit any requests for additions, subtractions. Dallas, if you want to add anything to that, you can.
Sure. On page 9, there's a list of several things that either need to be looked at, possibly added. There are suggestions. Couple things that we do need some clarification on. The first is what the board's intent was as far as coaching training, if it was solely for the leagues to provide coaching training, or if it was for the leagues to ensure that all coaches complete the coaching training. So there's a little confusion on what the board's intent was back in 2019 when that was voted on. Another item of discussion that needs to probably happen at this point is what you all would like for us to do as far as CPR trainings. We've put that on hold during COVID. I would just caution for the coaches handling the dummies. If you would like for us to move forward doing that again this fall, or if you guys still feel we need to hold off on that for the time being. And then there's obviously some other items in there that we have put in place that probably needs to be added to the facility use agreement. And then also the disciplinary issue that you all asked us to come back with this month is there on the very last bullet on that page.
Question, Mr. Gilly, did we have a problem with some of this? What prompted the change in your opinion? I mean, why are we having to do this?
I believe one thing specifically is the coaches' training has been an issue with one of the leagues that we have. And we want to make sure that anything that we do coincides with the powers that we have here at the Parks Board level. There's some other things within the facility use agreement that I think the mayor wanted to clarify that Bowman needed to approve. There was an item when you all approved required background checks for all assistant coaches as well as head coaches, which is a great idea. That does require money to be spent. We haven't really had to do anything outside of our budget to spend that, but it is something probably anytime we have a policy that is going to ask money to be spent going forward, we need to kick that up to Bowman probably. Some of these have no money involved at all, so that's a little bit different, but just to give you an example of one of those. Mr. Eckenroth is our COO. He met with us and the mayor. He's here tonight. I don't think he can add anything or wants to add anything. But if I've said anything out of turn on that wasn't in that meeting, then let me know. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, sir. It did.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on this that we take this to an athletic subcommittee on the board or create a workshop for the board to come to discuss this more instead of discussing in the meeting tonight, so we can all have a better chance to review what's in the manual and in the policies and use agreements, so we can bring something back from the subcommittee or the workshop to the board to vote on more appropriately.
So to understand, the crux of your motion is going to be to meet with the committee, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Second, Mr. Golden. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Let me get that written down, please, sir.
We need a secretary,
Mm-hmm.
a better-looking secretary. Not me.
You asked for discussion, may I?
Yes, sir.
I notice in here that there's maybe a sense of urgency in order to move forward and prepare amply for the fall seasons. Is that something that needs to be in the motion of when we can meet and something to bring back at the June meeting for voting?
I think for what we're trying to do here, I don't think we're going to be able to get it through BOMA in time for any kind of fall season. I think by the time we have an athletic committee meeting, a Parks Board meeting, it goes to a BOMA committee and then gets read by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We're going to be looking at, and they only have one meeting this July. We're going to be looking at August anyway, probably. So I think anything we do, I think we'll just carry on with our policies as is for now. And anything that changes or is added or subtracted, we'll put in there to be enacted January 2022. That would be my recommendation.
And just to clarify, what you just said, Andy, was until it's ratified through this board and then through BOMA, current agreement is still in place. All the expectations, therefore, in that agreement are in place. Am I understanding that correct?
That's my understanding. I mean, I don't know any other way we have to operate leagues and go by what we've been going by, I think, at this point.
Ms. Ted, are you comfortable with the wording of your motion, or would you like to?
I'm comfortable with it. I mean, if I need to amend it and say anything that we come up with.
I think it's
will be-
fine. I
Okay.
think it's fine.
Just one clarification, was it the athletic committee or the whole board? Because you said both, which one did you want to do?
I guess it would be something that needs to be discussed between the Parks Director and the chairman of whether it should go to the athletic committee or whether it should be the whole board as a workshop.
I wrote down the motion was to send policies and agreement to the athletic committee for review. That's
Okay.
what I understood you to say.
That is fine then. I'm fine with that motion. I'll make the motion and clarify that we send this to the athletic committee to be reviewed and come up with suggestions for the whole board to vote on and a meeting to be determined.
Very good. I'll have that, and I have a second to the amended motion. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Mr. Gilly, Mr. Long, thank you for your work on that. I know you've been through a lot on that, and I appreciate what y'all done. Okay, Fit for Mom, Nicole Dugan. Good afternoon, ma'am. If you'll push the little button there, little thing there, and are you green?
I'm green. Can everybody
You're
hear me?
green. All right. State your name if you don't mind, please.
My name is Nicole Duggan.
Okay.
I'm here to talk to you guys about Fit for Mom, a program that I would like to bring to the city of Hendersonville Parks and Rec. So what is Fit for Mom? Fit for Mom is the leading pre- and postnatal fitness program in the country. So we are a franchise. There are over 300 franchise owners across the country operating 1,500 or so locations, utilizing different class formats. So the main premise of what we're doing is a group exercise class for moms with new young babies, stroller age children, so around 5 or under, eventually offering a little bit more than that. But to start, that's our main program. Offering also free events like Mother's Night Outs, we want to do once a month, provided free to the community, and then weekly kids play dates that would take place at the park one of our days after class. And then other resources we provide through our website and newsletter and social media as well.
Okay. Question? No,
yes.
I'm sorry. You go right ahead.
Okay. So my why I started this and how I got into it. I moved to Hendersonville from Ohio 5 years ago. I got married here, and that is my son, Asher, up there. He's 1.5 years old, and he basically changed everything for me.
Amen. Amen.
I realized how much I needed support and community from other moms, and being somebody from another state, that was really hard in my place in life here. And I kind of realized this was a very special niche that didn't exist yet in this area. So I made a huge jump, and I decided to leave my full-time job as a physical therapist. I am still working part-time as needed to get some income coming in right now, but I decided to dive headfirst into this and really helping create this community here.
Okay.
So why Fit for Mom? Some of the benefits of what this will be. Physical benefits you've probably heard preached to from your doctors. I won't elaborate a ton on this, but obviously the physical benefits of exercise we probably all know. And of course, we're focused on postpartum mothers, so helping moms normalize their body after their initial postpartum period. But what's really almost more important to me is the mental benefits that moms are going to get from our program. And that's going to be things like decreasing postpartum depression, loneliness, and isolation, which I can say I experienced a lot of firsthand, especially having a new baby during COVID. That really pushed me to want to do this and offer this to our community. Put on there, moms do come for the workout, but they will definitely stay for our community and having this little niche here. We're hoping to provide the village that everybody talks about, and when you have a baby, they say it takes a village, and everybody looks around and says, okay, where's my village? Well, that's what we're trying to go after here, providing that support. Many moms aren't necessarily comfortable being in a gym setting after having a baby, and that's why we feel that our program is going to be very special and target that group. Personally, it's ironic for me. My husband manages 2 gyms in Hendersonville and Gallatin, and I realized that just because I'm comfortable in a gym setting, not everybody is, and especially postpartum moms want to be around other people going through what they're going through, and this is one of the best ways that we can do that for them. So the main class that I want to start teaching here is called Stroller Strides. Stroller Strides is a 60-minute full total body conditioning program. And I got some other clicks coming on here to show you. There we go. It's going to be a class consisting of moms with their babies in tow. So they will come with their babies in strollers and go through. We do different stations, but it'll have a mix of cardio, so lightly jogging, walking with the babies in between stations, specific core restoration at the end, targeting all the muscles moms are suffering from postpartum. And then it'll be led by certified instructors, entertaining the little ones throughout the core of the class. One of our rules too is that moms have to keep their babies strapped into the stroller throughout the class for safety reasons, which sounds impossible, but it is very, very doable with our instructors entertaining along the way. And we've got a video, hopefully that'll play here, maybe not. Yes, okay, just to show you a little bit of what Stroller Strides is.
Are y'all getting that audio out there?
We don't have popcorn either. Sorry.
I'm not gonna be able to get the audio out there. We may have to skip the video.
You can, it's okay, you can play it. The audio is just music in the background, so you can use your imagination. Have some cool music playing back there.
You don't want to ask us to do that. Very nice presentation.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation.
All right. So why does this matter to you guys? So benefits for the Parks and Rec. We want to do as much free marketing and promotion of any park activities that you would like us to include in our newsletter, website, and social media accounts. Having an increased presence in the parks and community. Participating in, assisting with any park events, fairs, etc., which I've talked with Dallas and Andrea about a couple specific things that we could participate in, hopefully coming up here. And then providing any fitness articles for publications or speaking on anything if you have anything you'd like us to speak on at those events as well. Organizing park cleanups is something we listed on there, but that is also open to other, we just want to be able to provide some sort of community service or give back to the community in other ways as well. And then offering a yearly donation to the park system to benefit your programs here. And then including the park system and any press releases that are generated for us. And encouraging any following on programming, sports, anything that you guys have to offer. Okay, so time and location, what we're looking at doing. To start out, this would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I personally am going to be the one teaching the classes on those days from 9:30 to 10:30. So it's the hour-long class. We'll be there 15 minutes probably before, 15 minutes after. After I talked with Dallas and Andrea a little bit, we talked about using Veterans Park right next to Mary's Magical Place in the grassy green space right there. So that would be an ideal spot for us to be able to go through these classes, and then having the possibility of adding more class times as clientele grows and we have more interest. We would first probably be looking at adding Tuesday, Thursday at 9:30 and occasionally a pop-up class on Saturday or Sunday, basically any non-conflicting times to what's going on in the park. And then credentials, so you don't think I'm some random person off the street doing this. I do have a doctorate of physical therapy. My bachelor's is in applied health sciences. And I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist, which is a form of personal training certification. I'm pre and postnatal certified, and I have CPR and first aid. And then for my business, it is filed already with the state of Tennessee. I did get confirmation of an EIN from the IRS, and I am just pending my licenses through the city in Sumner County, which have already been submitted. Does anyone have any questions?
My goodness, what a great report. Questions?
I have one question. How, this is kind of for Andy and the staff, as far as what we're charging for this or how they're, what are we doing? I know it says it's for profit, but how are we handling them
I can answer that.
donating or?
Sure, I can answer that. So what we had talked about for this first year, it would be a $500 donation back to the Mary's Magical Place Maintenance Fund. And Nicole was willing to come back in a year to see how she's doing as far as, right now, she just doesn't know how popular this is going to be. So she is willing to come back in a year and look at the donation, see if we need to re-up it or where things stand. So.
Question, it looks like there's going to have to be a great deal of planning as far as availability of all the venues that they're going to be doing. Have y'all talked about that, sir?
So currently, we're talking about just holding this in the grass area to the left of Mary's Magical Place. So that is our prime location that we've discussed at this point. Anything additional than that, we would need to work out and figure out around what our other park events are. But it would be that grass area in the morning times. There should not be any conflict with park activities on those Wednesdays and Fridays.
I want to give you a thumbs up for doing this.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
I just want to ask her a couple of questions. Just a couple of questions. I
Yes,
know
sir.
you've got to see how this gets off.
Yes.
And how well it does. Do you see this being a year-round?
Yes, it will be
thing?
year-round. We will probably only use the park, I'm thinking between March and November. Basically, as long as we're not hitting below freezing temperatures. Typically, like other locations will have a backup indoor location. And that's where they'll go to in the wintertime. So that would just be off the park premises at that point.
One more thing.
Yes.
Do you see, like, the young children, the babies getting into it? Because it looks like they do, and if they do, I think that's a great thing, too. It gives them stimulation at the same time, I would say.
You make them do.
Not working out. I'm just talking about in their strollers.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Just
Make 'em do
enjoying,
push-ups.
Definitely,
watching their moms work out. So-
Yes. So that is what makes Fit for Mom very different than any other group exercise class, because we have planned out so there's 5 main stations, and at each of those 5 stations there is a specific planned activity. It's called Fun for Baby, and that could be anything from, if mom is doing a lunge, reaching down and doing like toe tickles to them on the stroller, or it could be incorporating nursery rhymes or song with them. We'll have like little bubble guns to be able to run bubbles up and down. So there's specific planned activities that definitely keep them engaged. Yeah.
Are you going to have a website for this?
I do have a website. I have business cards with me. I can give you all today when I leave too. It's got the website on there. So.
Well, I'm thinking about advertising. What have you done to that end, ma'am?
So far, we're just using social media. I have an Instagram page, a Facebook page, and then trying to lead people to the website, ideally. So that's as far as we've gotten. I don't have a lot of money I'm working with to start this, so I'm just starting ground up and going from there.
That's why I asked you about the advertising, because if you have that website, it'll be on my Facebook page, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. That would be
well,
awesome.
I can't believe how this could not be needed. So, any more discussion? Yes, sir.
One more question for Dallas. We will, all of your certifications, I'm assuming you'll have copies of those, and we'll have everything filed away.
That's correct. Yeah, she'll work with Andrea and all that. Yep.
Any more questions?
What about insurance?
I do
carry an
have
insurance
insurance. I have it lined up to start June 1st through State Farm. So I've got a business coverage. Actually, I talked to Dallas about it, and he told me just to make sure that the Parks and Rec or the city of Hendersonville is listed on there specifically. So yeah, that's in place as well.
I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Golden? Second, Mr. Pike. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. You know, if everybody did this, even I can understand it, so that's a good thing. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much.
Nicole, if you'll get with Andrea and Dallas and I, we'll get a press release together about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And get it to the newspaper.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed.
And also get with Wade and Andrea and I, and we'll use you to help promote our Aaron Opry Moms and Mimosas workout event coming up.
Love it. Sounds
Got it.
good.
Thank you, ma'am. New Creation Church, oh, this is great, kickball. Hey, New Creation Church kickball. James, hot dog. I'm still available, so, yes, sir. State your name, sir. Yes, sir.
James Caperton.
Yay, there you go.
Fit for Mom's going to be a tough act to follow there. New Creation Church, I guess we're looking for permission to play a kickball game at one of the smaller baseball fields at the Drakes Creek location. I forget the number. It's the smallest one. 10, that sounds right. Yes, sir. We were hoping to use the smaller one to kind of keep the ball in play, make it a little bit more competitive. I was also told that we could provide an insurance policy that y'all would probably need that. Other than that, I don't really know what else to add.
Yes, sir.
How does the date they have coincide with what's going on down there with all of our events?
It is Field 10, and I've tentatively blocked it off pending approval by the board. But yes, that we have Field 10 set aside.
Okay. Questions? Yes, sir. Mr. Bennett, motion to approve. Mr. Pike, second. Any more discussion? If I've played kickball for money, did I lose my amateur status or?
Not at all. And we could keep that between all of us here, and we expect to see you there.
Can't even kick a pillow, much less. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
I'm available to kick out the first kick thing or whatever.
Thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate that.
All right, next. I can pull my brain. Next, Bluegrass Adventure Camp, Michael Aldrich. Hello, Michael. State
Good
your
evening.
name just for the record, sir.
Mike Aldrich.
Yes, sir.
So I'm the PGA Director of Player Development at Bluegrass, which means my job is creating fun experiences for the members of Bluegrass and also for Sumner County residents. And we've held golf camps for a number of years. Last year kind of pointed out the need for some other camps as parents were looking for things for their kids to do, and parents weren't rushing to put their kids into cabins and things like that for sleepover camps. So we held one last year. It went really well. We have a fishing guide that comes out one day, which is why I'm here today. We held it at our marina, but the space really wasn't appropriate to allow the kids to catch fish. Our cove is pretty small, so I reached out to Andy and asked if we had some better places possibly in the town and wanted to go through the proper means to do that. So most of the activities we do with the camp are held on course property, on club property, but for this, on June 14th and June 13th in the morning, I have Susan Thrasher, who's one of the best fishing guides in the state of Tennessee. She's coming to teach the kids how to fly fish in the morning. So We were hoping to use Memorial Park for that purpose. And we have a 6 to 12 kids in each camp, and we do keep it to a 4 to 1 ratio of adults to kids. Plus, we have the average age of the kid is 10 or 11 years old, but we also bring in some 13 and 14-year-olds who serve as counselors in training, which just basically means they get to boss around their little brothers and sisters. So, and we're just looking for those 2 days for 3 hours each day.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, I see that you're charging, it's for profit. What's the admission for it?
It is $275 for 5 days of camp, including all the supplies and everything. So it's a very traditional camp. I also pay Susan to come and do that. She's my most expensive expense, but we tie-dye shirts, we do arts and crafts, and all of that comes out of that fund. So the club really doesn't make money. It's more of my own business that I'm running at the club.
So that includes also licenses for the kids to fish, or does that include in that with the fee with Susan Thrasher?
So I have a license and Susan has a license. I don't believe that.
Fishing license for the
Yeah,
kids?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that includes that? Okay. Just want to make sure. Anybody over 12 needs one, so just
Okay.
making sure.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Andy, how are we, or Dallas or anybody, how are we doing, how we do most of these? Are they giving back to a certain thing, to a certain?
For this, he would be paying the camp fee per person back to the city.
Okay. All right.
On the dates, you said June 4th, those dates didn't match up to what was on the application?
It's the Tuesday, did I get the dates wrong? June 15th, is it then?
Well, it's got June 15th in it, then a date in July.
It's July 13th. It's the Tuesdays.
Okay.
I-
You mentioned two dates in June.
Sorry about
Just
that.
want to make sure we're set as a staff to make sure we're prepared.
Thank you.
So these dates are good as far as what we've got scheduled? Okay.
Any questions? Motion to
So,
approve? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, so these 2 dates listed on here, in June 15th and July 13th, is that the beginning day of the 5-day camp?
That's the second
Or-
day.
That's the second day, so it's that week. That, you said it was $275 for 5 days.
Right.
So the dates you have listed on here is Tuesday, so your 5-day camp is Monday through Friday.
Correct.
Okay.
Any more questions?
And then Dallas, you said this is, the fees coming back, are we talking about the equivalent of player fees coming back to the city?
The
For
camp
the
fee-
kids, or?
Yes, yeah. Well, it's camp fees. They're $5 per camper.
Okay.
So, yep, for each camp.
Okay. Any more questions?
Just so I'm clear, you're only fishing 2 days, right?
Correct.
The 2 Tuesdays.
Yeah, the two
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
That's what I thought. Mr. Chairman, I want to, if you don't mind, can I comment?
Surely, go ahead, sir.
I want to compliment Mike because he has done a lot of things at Bluegrass, not just for members, but they've also opened up things to the entire community that are not members for their different camps and lessons. And I hope that y'all continue to do that because not every kid has a family that is a member, obviously, but I appreciate you guys reaching out and doing that for the community. So that's all I had to say.
Thanks, Andy.
As do we. Thank you. Any more questions? Motion to approve? Mr. Bennett? Second, Mr. Bowler? Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing, sir. Okay, Tennessee United Soccer Club Adult League, Alex Gabers. Is that a perpetual smile? I like that. I like that. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Go.
Alex Gabers. I'm with Tennessee United Soccer Club, proposing an adult soccer league, specifically over 30, to take place the second week of June, going through the last week of July. We are asking for a field 2 nights during the week for just kind of a kick around, very casual, very informal, no refs. And then we're going to have 2 Saturdays, one in June, June 26th, and one in July, July 17th, to have little mini tournaments where there are actually referees. And I believe just 1 soccer field for that as well. There was a question, I believe there is already an adult league in Hendersonville. Hendersonville Soccer Club has one that is an open age above 18. And this is going to be geared more towards older women specifically, and people who are recovering from injury, people who have never played soccer before, just kind of the people who get intimidated by really competitive or intense soccer. So, any questions?
I have a question for Dallison.
Go right ahead, sir.
How do the dates line up? I know soccer gets really crowded, and we've always got people talking about they need more times, they move times. How does this, can we work this out?
Yes, I've worked out the dates and the times, and we've got a plan, assuming this is approved.
So this doesn't interfere with like the off-season time of fertilizing the fields and all that during the summer?
Well, there's really no more off season at this point. Between our camps, tryouts, our other adult league, I mean, we have some fields that are shut down this summer. We've made a plan for those fields. This is not one of those fields that we will shut down. They will just be out at the volunteer field, as well as football during the summertime. So the football will be doing their community conditioning during the month of June, and then they're in their registered player conditioning in July out there as well. So they will be the only group as far as soccer goes that will be on this field.
Just wanted to say real quick, the other group that has an adult league as well, this just through the research I've done about our own leagues. The issue that they're having is that the above 30 age group is really struggling in that other group due to the fact that the style of players that are playing in that league. So having a specific league set like this, I mean, you guys have heard me talk about how we don't really service 25 to 40-year-olds that well. I think we do a good job of offering stuff to recent college graduates or even kids that are in college during the summer or maybe when they're home. But this would actually hit the range of the players that are not looking for as crazy of a league. That I'm not, when I say crazy, it's not that it's bad, but I know that it's a little bit more competitive and it's definitely a higher quality of play. So I know that from talking to people in that league that are struggling in it right now.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Are we, Dallas, anybody, are we charging any kind of player fee out of that?
Absolutely, yeah. They'll pay the same fees that the other club pays. It'll be 10 and 15 for residents and non-residents.
Questions? Motion to approve?
Actually, I do have one
I'm
question.
sorry, go ahead.
Just in terms of making sure that, that overlap is clear, has there been discussions with HSC, just making sure that there's, that this is not meant as a specifically a direct competition to the league that they run? Wade, maybe you can help me with that. I don't know. Or Dallas?
No, I mean, as far as I'm aware, HSC doesn't know about this or that they're coming here tonight. HSC's program is already ongoing. They started last week. They cut off registrations, and they have 190 players, 18 teams in their league, and they couldn't take any more. They cut off registrations. That was about 3 weeks ago. They cut that off, and they started games last week.
So this serves an entirely different need.
Yeah,
entirely different population.
This is a different setup than what HFC is providing. HFC is providing like a set team scheduled league. This is more like what you would call like a pickup. They go out to the park.
Social soccer.
Yeah, more social soccer. They'll go out. They'll just we're not even going to provide lines for their fields. They're just going to provide some goals, and they're going to have pickup soccer.
Got it. Thank you.
Questions? I think Mr. Head made a motion. Mr. Frank second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Keep that smile. I like that. I like that. Okay, Music City 7 Men's Rugby Tournament, Brian and Austin. Which one's Brian and which one's Austin? Because whichever one is you are, I don't want to mess with.
So I'm Brian Silkwood. Austin couldn't make it, but I've got the president of the national men's teams here to really speak on this. And Mr. Eston, they did say you'd be more than one to take the first tackle. So
Yes, please do, please do. Yes, yes.
Okay, that next on the agenda would be.
Second, third, and fourth.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Von Lunen. As Brian said, I'm the president of the Nashville Rugby Club. We're coming here to seek approval to use the rugby pitches that belong to the city for June 23rd? 26th, excuse me, June 26th for the whole day. We're hosting what we call a Music City Sevens tournament. It's a tournament that's probably at least 5 years strong, last year excluded. Where we've been able to bring in teams from across the Southeast. This is really focusing on a 18 and up demographic. We have there's sevens tournaments. It's just a different style of rugby. You think 15s is the larger standard rugby. Sevens is obviously 7 people instead of 15. So smaller teams. We still anticipate. Probably about 250 people total between players, spectators, etc. Anything more I should?
So it's an adult tournament.
Yes, sir.
Everybody will be 21 and above?
Everyone will be 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
18.
Yes, 18 and above.
The reason I asked 21 and above is because in your application, you put that you will be serving or want to serve alcohol.
Yes, we are seeking permission from this committee and the beer board to do so. Yes, we have partnered with Rock Solid Security. They're founded by a supporter of the club who's going to be there to provide all the necessary security measures related to that beer garden, as well as working with Half Batch Brewing here in the city and relying on their expertise for handling the sales.
So you're going to have a designated area such as a beer garden, as you said. In order to get admission to that beer garden, you'll
would
have
need
to
to
show
show ID.
proof of ID.
Yes, sir.
Will there be a wristband or something that's given to them that can't be shared, or only 21 and up will be allowed in there?
We could do it. I mean,
the beer board will have some of that in place, is my understanding on some of the stuff we have to go through for them. But yeah, we can do a wristband if that's something you guys would want to have, showing that they're above 21.
or limit entry altogether to those over 21 as well. We're happy to work with the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Brown, did you have something to say down there? I saw you tap your,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
okay. Mr. Golden?
Yeah, you said this has been going on 5 years, you said. Where have you hosted this before?
So in the past, we've used Metro Nashville Fields. We've been at Ezell Park, which is the one over by the airport, as well as the Metro Center complexes up in the Metro Center northern part of Nashville. And so we spoke with the city, and we just didn't think that the dates and everything worked out with them. Brian and Sumner County Rugby has been great supporters. And we felt that this would be a good opportunity to get it outside of the downtown area and really have a nicer facility, to be quite honest, something that's set up for rugby. You guys have amazing facility here. I mean, I've been playing for over 10 years. I think you have too. through college all the way up. And what you guys have here is pretty spectacular. And so the fact that we need 2 pitches made this work as well.
Mr. Chairman. Just, my question is more like for clarification and not scrutiny, but it says that it won't be admission fee charged? There said there'll be no admission charged?
For the spectators.
Okay.
We will have, there is a tournament registration fee for the players.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
because you're going to have to cover officials and you're going to have to pay folks to do that, okay.
Yeah. A team fee,
Entry fee for the team.
$350?
Yes.
Yeah, $350 per team. So most teams are anywhere between 7 and 12 players. But yeah, we'll have USA Rugby certified referees, trainers available. Yeah, the goal is to have those fees cover those costs.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question and just a clarification, just to throw this out there. I know when we first started talking about alcohol at events, we were talking about special events, things down at Sanders Ferry. I was contacted, and several people have in the past expressed concerns about alcohol being at athletic events with kids. I mean, we have an event here that is going to be people that are not of drinking age. And it's a bit of a concern that there might be some pushback from the community, and maybe even the board, mayor and alderman. It's a concern I have when we start talking about having alcohol. We've encroached now into the athletic facilities if we approve this with alcohol.
So I just want to speak on that real quick because I know that's a hard thing to think about, but I also I worked at Vanderbilt and we hosted a lot of rugby tournaments. You looked familiar, that's why, it's funny. But also with the way that the adult programs that run in Nashville, I mean, I brought this up with cornhole and I know it got shot down and it might be kind of funny to some, but I also think we're doing ourselves a displeasure to the citizens of Hendersonville, people my age, for instance. Why would I play in Hendersonville if I can't bring a beer to play kickball? I can drive 10 miles and go to East Nashville and play in a league with all my friends, and we can bring beer. And I know that's a harsh reality, and we may not want to do that ever, but at some point we have to realize that, I mean, like especially with like rugby, for instance, it's a part of the culture of rugby, like not even just in America, but just internationally. So as we're looking at more groups that are going to be coming here to come play, I'm not saying we have to always approve it, but I think just always saying no is going to be really hard to do. We're also doing ourselves a displeasure. I'll say that.
So just a recommendation, if this might or is to get approved, would you be willing, either you Brian, or you as a group, be willing to hire an off-duty Hendersonville police officer to be present in the beer garden during this event?
I'll speak to that real quick, Mr. Chairman. They will have to go by the handbook that we have for alcohol at events. For every 1,000 people, they have to have 2 officers. They will have to have a site plan. They should have had that tonight, but you need a site plan. You will have to have that at the beer board that shows exactly where the beer garden is. There will be no walking around the park with people carrying beer. They go in that beer garden, they don't come out of there with it. Bart Butler is my cousin, FYI, from Rock Solid Security. And we use Rock Solid at our events. I have a question. Where's the money going above and beyond the expenses?
So we'll be making a donation to Sumner County Rugby, and then we are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3, so the rest will be going to us. However, we're not operating this as a moneymaker. Right. It's an opportunity to really showcase the level of rugby that we have here in Middle Tennessee and get other teams into the community. It's not really much of a money making.
And are they playing under your insurance or your own insurance?
We have our own certificate of insurance through USA Rugby. Yes, sir.
Mr. Gilly, I want to show you how dumb I am. The stipulations as far as rules and regulations for alcohol at an event, does it make mention of wristbands of any kind?
You don't necessarily have to have a wristband, but if you don't, you have to check an ID every time. My recommendation to you all would be to have Rock Solid check the IDs and use a wristband. I would also just remind the board that we did approve a kickball tournament for Grace Place with beer last year, even though they canceled it. It was going to be at Drake's Creek.
My only concern is, like we've talked about, is the control. I know how tricky people are as far as drinking goes, because I used to be one of them, and God forgave me for that. But I would just, if they decide to approve, I would put an extra emphasis on that, maybe on or beyond what's specified. So, and I don't think you could have enough police officers, to be honest with you.
The other thing I would say is that Rock Solid is not a licensed officer of the peace. So your off-duty police officer people are different than Rock Solid security people. And I would say if a motion is made to approve this, it would need to include that it would be contingent upon approval also by the beer board. Now, you can approve the event, but the alcohol portion would need to be approved by the beer board, because we're really going about this backwards. But because of timing, their event is in June. This board doesn't meet again after the beer board meeting before their event. So we've done that in the past too, where we've had to kind of go backwards.
That's the way I do things. Any more questions on this? Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I know I'm supposed to be as neutral as I possibly can up here, but, it's hard for me not to talk. It's just, it's in my nature. I would like to ask you, if the beer board doesn't approve, if the Parks Board approves your application this evening, and the beer board doesn't approve you serving beer in a beer garden, will you still come here and play rugby?
Yeah.
So
We've already
rugby
done our publicity. We're accepting registrations. This is an effort to give those that come an opportunity to enjoy beer, but do it in the right way, and honoring the policies and procedures that y'all have in place.
Okay. That's, I just want to know if rugby was important or beer was important. I know.
Oh,
Seems like rugby is.
No, as I said, the primary reason for this is to really elevate our club, elevate the facilities that y'all have, and really show that, this area has really good rugby community, and that comes before anything else.
I think this man had a really good suggestion for you, though, about hiring an off-duty officer. I think that would be an appropriate thing.
I'd just like to make one point. We do have two of the best fields around here, and the rugby club's doing a great job. Second thing, I know your hours are from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., so I would hope that the beer would be served in a smaller time frame, or else it's going to get really out of control.
So our plan is to stop selling alcohol at 3:30.
Okay.
To allow people to get it out of their system before they leave the facility, to just to ensure as much safety as we can.
Gotcha.
So what time would you start?
Event is
7:30.
Yes, we plan to start selling alcohol at the start of the event.
Oh, okay. That's going to be, all right, thank you, guys.
Any more questions?
We're still on the beer part of it. That seems to be the big thing. If you're going to start at 7, you're going to stop at 3:30. Will there be a limit?
We'll work with Half Batch Brewing and their licensed bartenders to enforce any sales to anyone that appears visually impaired. We do not anticipate much in terms of sales that early. We start that early so that we can make sure that we're all set up. We're going to have teams coming in from across the southeast that are going to slowly be making their way in. Some will spend the night beforehand. Some will make it a day trip. So
like at a lot of events, you're limited to 2 beers per person at the time of purchase. Are you going to allow more than 2 beers purchased by one person, or you going to set a limit per person?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, we
The same person could come up 10 times throughout the
right,
day.
yeah, but they're not walking around with, yeah.
Limiting the amount of purchase at one setting.
I understand. We would defer to half batch and what they feel comfortable and believe that works the best. However, if that were a stipulation that you felt was necessary, we're happy to oblige.
Well, if I can kick my 2 cents worth in on it, I'm kind of with Mr. Evans down there. I don't drink. I take that back. I drink a beer every once in a while. My doctor told me it'd help me go to the bathroom. That's all I do with beer. But I do see it happening, and I don't see it not happening. So it might stand to be a bigger forum as far as alcohol goes than we have here. So I mean, I'm all for what you're doing. I think by number one, you talking, number two, I would want to fight him that y'all are going to police this thing pretty good, and it might even be a little bit of a test for you guys because we got people wandering around. So as far as my 2 cents, I'd be okay with it. But it's up to these guys. So, Mr. Frank.
I can't express how incredible of a job Mr. Silkwood and his group have done to bring that facility and bring the sport to where it is, and it's going to continue to grow. And you guys have my full support for that because that is just premier facility. And I want the event. It sounds like we're getting a lot of. In my opinion, I don't need to be making any decision because I don't sit on the beer board. And I don't need to be telling people what they can and can't serve because that's a little bit out of my lane as far as serving up here. But I think the reason why it's resonating is because we also represent, other parks facilities and special events / tournaments / annual events. It kind of looks like, I don't know, I need a little bit of time to kind of process that a little bit as far as other, would we approve something at Memorial Park for a fly fishing tournament or Sanders Ferry Park for a bass fishing tournament, things like that. And I don't want you to think that the majority of us are not supportive of the tournament, but the piece about the alcohol, Mr. Gilly said that we kind of came about this a little bit backwards. We're asking questions that are really more or less designed for the beer board and how they're going to force to give the assurances that it's going to be a safe event. So please forgive us if it sounds like we're scrutinizing. We just want it to be a successful event and something that if it goes well could turn into something that obviously promotes, the goodwill of everyone. So I guess I'm speaking for myself, but I know it sounds like we're really kind of hung up on the wrong thing. Mr. Brown put it right. Are we talking more about rugby or people playing and enjoying the sport, or are we really hung up on something else?
If I were in y'all's shoes, I'd be asking the same things. We understand that this is not done very often. We wanted to make sure that we were here, transparent, and to answer as many questions as possible. We know we understand that it's kind of a trial period. We want to show the city that we can do this, we can do it the right way. We want to continue to use these great facilities in the future if we have the opportunity to.
I think, Mr. Frank, I think that's what I was saying about maybe a bigger platform on what's going on because, like Mr. Evans said, you can go 10 miles and play and drink beer and I would think that either the beer board or somebody would have more credentials than I know I would have to police this kind of thing because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But people need to know how to control it. So that would be my thought anyway.
Andy, you'd mentioned that there was a kickball game or tournament that I believe, are there other examples? I believe the bass fishing tournament, I believe, in September is to have beer. I think this is not the first time we've heard this issue.
No, we did the Grace Place kickball tournament, which ended up getting canceled. That was going to be at Drakes Creek Park. Blue Otter was going to be, that'll be next May as far as fishing tournament. Pro Bass, I don't think has requested it yet. They might. They talked about it. But as far as apples to apples at an athletic facility, that's the comparison would be the kickball tournament. That was going to be fields 6, 7, 8, 9.
In your opinion, what were the repercussions of that? Did you get?
It ended up getting canceled during the COVID.
Okay. Questions?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve
Who was that?
this, Mr. Head.
Mr. Head. Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the tournament to allow to sell alcohol based on, help me out, Andy, that they follow the protocol, which is 2 officers per, whatever's in the manual that we have. They follow that, and they follow any other recommendations that the beer board allows, because like everybody has said, Mr. Silkwood, Brian up here, they have done a fantastic job with this facility, and they have put a lot of their own money in there, and I'm willing to take a risk with him backing and supporting this, that he's not going to let anything happen that's going to jeopardize anything over there.
Instead, I think that's what, I think we're good. I think what you're saying is right, because we're going to approve the thing, but they still got to go through the alcohol board. So I think you want to state that one more time, because I interrupted you, and I'm sorry.
I'll read it for you, Mr. Head. Motion to approve contingent upon approval by the beer board for the alcohol portion of the event and going by all parks protocols.
I have a first. Mr. Perry, second. More discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm very appreciative of everything that Brian's done over there. I just
Noted.
feel like we're maybe on the verge of opening Pandora's box. Again, I appreciate
So am I
everything you do,
correct in
and I hope
assuming-
it's successful. I really do.
Thank you, sir.
I'm correct in assuming you abstained on that?
We voted no.
No, okay. Noted, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Point of, I guess, order of inquiry. Is it appropriate to look at this issue perhaps in a committee that we have? I'm not as familiar with our committee structures, and certainly not open to just throwing things out to committee, but it seems like it's an issue for enough of the board to look at, making sure that we're being consistent in how we apply whatever rules we are. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a study for a long time sent to several committees to have the handbook that governs all the events that might have alcohol. The one thing that was kind of backwards here that we kind of noted was that this really should go to the beer board first, so that when they walk in here, they've got a plan, they've got approval, and we don't have to ask a lot of those questions. So I think I think we're okay for now.
So for clarification, you guys are approved for the event, but you still have work to do. Got it. Thank you for coming. Okay, different church, Kona Ice giveaway. Tyler?
Hey, what's up, fellas? My name's Tyler Sturban.
You look happy to be Tyler. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, we just want to pull up to Veterans Park with a truck and give away free Kona Ice until we run out of money. That's it. Yeah, money. We did it last month. We did the month before that in different places, and we went around. We were in Davidson County, Wilson County, and all of them. We had an idea about Kona Ice, and all of those parks had Kona Ice trucks all over the place. And so then I took my girls to Veterans Park. And I was like, dang, there are a lot of people out here. This could be dope, and not one. And then I was like, well, let me go to Drake's Creek. Nothing. I was like, dang. So then I was like, okay, let's do this. I sent it in, and then they called me in the office, and I was like, well, I'd like to give away like $1,000 worth of Kona Ice. Let's make it happen. So that's why I'm here.
I can't see them not okaying this, but I'm going to ask for discussion about it, though.
So what's going on June the 19th, Keith? There's probably a tournament in the park that day.
We checked it when he was in the office. I don't believe there was a tournament at Veterans that day.
We actually had veterans, that was gonna be the Raise the Praise, and they've moved out of the Veterans Park. We actually had that park, those fields reserved for them that day, but they're going to Memorial Park, I believe, at a different date.
Big people at Mary's Magical Place Playground.
Yeah.
Which is busy. I mean, my only suggestion would be, is that really, if he wants to give away a ton of stuff, I'm fine with it. We give away ice cream through the dentist twice a year. I would want to make sure he got his biggest bang for his buck so we could take all his money that we could possibly take.
Yes, go.
Which is not going to be hard to do, but it's free.
I have a feeling if he doesn't get rid of all of it in one day, he might come back another day, another time.
Yeah, we were just
Okay.
planning on like whatever the deal we end up getting with Kona Ice. I don't know how long it'll take for. I said 9 to 12, like that morning block. It could be 9 to 10. I don't, you never know. Our online presence is pretty heavy, so if we got it approved, throw it on TikTok, 200,000 people check it out and see if they slide through.
There is a big tournament at Drake's Creek that weekend, already scheduled.
Well, I like the idea of Mary's Magical Playhouse, because if you've got a lot of people over there, that's going to be like a treat to those people.
Yeah, that's the
I
goal.
mean,
That's
what a fantastic place to be to give that away. But I'm like Jimmy. I want to make sure we
Well,
get it to the right place.
If business gets down, it has four wheels. It can move to Drake's Creek.
Yeah, no. Every time I've been out there on a Saturday, there's 100 people out there at any given time, and we stay out there a couple hours. Somebody calls. That's what I've learned. We've been giving the money away for like 8 months straight, a few $1,000s every month. People call. It doesn't take long. Trust me. When something's free, it doesn't take long. So.
Make sure there's not a clown coming by getting a bunch and go selling it. All right, any more questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Who made the motion?
All three of us.
Or of us seconded. Mr. Head made the motion. Who was second? It don't matter. Mr. White was second. More discussion?
Just save me some dragons, boy.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All I can't imagine anybody saying no.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate what you're doing. Okay, Mr. Gilly, the FY 2022 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, if you don't mind putting the forms up, it's just the FY 22 budget. There you go. That first one you had is good. One of the duties of the Parks Board is to approve and recommend. You can't really approve funding, but you can make recommendations or give your blessing or ask for the moon if you'd like to. And you all have in your packet the first draft of the mayor's budget proposal that will be voted on June the 8th for the first reading. This will be at Public Works Committee tomorrow night, I think, for review, as far as I know. I'll just kind of go through the screen page there. It says page 13 at the bottom. It talks about salaries. Included in the salaries line item is the full year of our 2 new maintenance workers that we got. that were not a full year this year. They started in February and in May. And also included, as you see, cost of new positions, $7,700. That's where we did a reclassification on what was our former parks maintenance supervisor's job. We did a reclassification through HR and got it approved by the board to get that actual position up to where it needed to be so that more good qualified people might apply for it, and we can go back hopefully to having a head maintenance superintendent at the park. What we've done is worked well. Jeremy and Ed have worked extremely well together and worked with our staff as both assistant maintenance supervisors, but I think everyone would agree we need to get to where we have that head person at maintenance. The next section is assets. You will see FY21, we had $133,443 total assets. FY22, it's proposed for us to have $33,000 worth of assets. That's a reduction of 75.27 from this year's budget. The next page is operations. Total operating cost, 24% reduction in several line items. That encompasses the biggest one there is the special event line item, the recreation athletic line item, maintenance of parks line item. There are some of those that were reduced that I think are perfectly fine. You know, we've had a year of COVID and a year this year after COVID. We've had new programs. It's been a weird 2 years to try to make any kind of budget. I felt like this year at the level we were at, we did pretty well. This represents a 24% decrease in operations based on the funds we had this year. Next page, it says page 37 down at the bottom. All of those projects that you see on the bottom left that say parks, those were items that were requested in my budget proposal at different levels. If it says parks first, that's what we requested. The first one where it says rugby, lacrosse lights, turf soccer field, pickleball, and sand volleyball, that was to be part of the LPRF grant, which is a $500,000 grant through the state that we hope to apply for in August. That grant is the reason why we are doing the Parks Master Plan. We couldn't apply for that last fall because we had not had a Parks Master Plan. Now that we will have that complete, hopefully we'll be bringing a resolution to BOMA in July to seek their approval to allow us to apply for the grant that hopefully would be able to do those things along with matching funds from the city. Those other items are items that really need to be done at some point. On the last page, page 40, no, next to last page, I'm sorry, talks about the hotel tax. Down where it says operational expenses, the mayor's proposal is for all of the budgeted hotel tax at this time to go towards debt payoff, which is important to note that $2.825 million was borrowed to build inline hockey rinks with a cover on them. And the hotel tax is supposed to go towards the items that bring in tourism. It is our hope that that does bring in tourism. It is also my hope, and I think we'll start to see that the hotel tax next year, fiscal year, will be well above $200,000. So hopefully some decisions can be made once it gets to that level above $200,000, how to spend that money towards other items that we've been spending on the last few years. The hotel tax this month was back up to $30,000 collected as opposed to $4,000 this month last year. So that gives me a lot of hope that we're doing the right things, bringing people in here. The very last page, page 45, talks about stormwater, which is not really Parks Board, except for you will see a line item under capital projects, $500,000 for Mary's Magical Place flood protection. That was in the budget this year. That project hasn't started yet. We will encumber those funds to work on that project as soon as we get the green light. Once the hockey project, we know it's done and we can go protect that playground. At this point, if any of you have any questions, I'll take them. Like I said, your job is not to vote to spend money. Your job as an advisory board to make any recommendations or suggestions, I guess, and really not to me at this point, to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. But you do have to, it is part of your job to take a vote on that.
Okay, let me go on and open the can of worms. On page 14, special events, only 32,000. Is that, what's up with that?
Of that 32,000, 20,000 will be the fireworks. We're contractually obligated to about another 3,500 for a TSSAA cross-country meet. Past that, we hope to get back the TSSAA middle school baseball and softball tournament that we just had this weekend. That will require some funding. Then past that, there's a whole long list of events that we've helped with over the years. There was a sentiment from the mayor and some on the board that all of the events that we do that partner with nonprofits needed to go before the nonprofit committee, which meets once a year this time of year. They're meeting twice this year. They're meeting on June the 1st. So what my plan is to take the entire list of events that we have already on the books for the year and who the partners are and what our goal to help them bring those events here with these funds to the nonprofit committee, and hopefully get their blessing that we're partnering with the right type of people to do that, and helping the groups that we help in the community when we do bring in these events. And from there, they would make a recommendation to BOMA if they want to increase that line item or not. They don't, I mean, the board doesn't have to. They can, just like you all, the nonprofit committee can recommend all they want. But eventually 7 people out of 13 would have to make a budget amendment to raise that line item. So hope that answered that question.
So which events then, can you give some examples of which events would then be brought to that board?
Yeah, in your packet on page, one of the handouts that we gave you all, page 2, 3, and 4. I mean, we do events such as the Freedom Festival that gives money to the Chamber Foundation. We help with the running club events. We were in planning stages with an event for special needs vendor fair with Peer Place Project 22 that would give money to Mary's Magical Place. We have an event with Tunnels to Towers, a 5K coming to town that is a nonprofit group. That's the group that helped pay off the mortgage on Officer Bristol's house when he passed away. We have several events where we partner with Holiday Fest, which is a nonprofit group during Christmas. In all reality, every time we have a baseball and softball tournament, when they come up here for approval, you all ask what civic group they're going to partner with. And it's always a nonprofit, whether it be a high school or Civitan or the rugby club or. So I'm going to, like Mr. Silkwood's rugby tournament on June 1st, I'm going to list that as one that's coming to the park. Because even though on paper we're not giving them dollars, we will have to have manpower. We will have to do some things over there without question to help with that.
So if a nonprofit or organization is seeking to bring a tournament to us, and it's a nonprofit organization, am I understanding that this board would no longer hear those applications?
That's a great question. I think you would. I think you have to. That's what the Parks Board's for. I don't, outside of this meeting on June 1st, when I present the year, if something else comes in, there hasn't been any legislation that says I have to do that. I mean, maybe Mr. Brown can speak to that a little bit because he was at that same meeting. If somebody comes in the middle of the year, I don't know. The nonprofit committee only meets during the budget. So I don't know what that's going to look like exactly. I didn't mean to put Mr. Brown on the spot, but.
Been there before, brother.
Sorry, old partner.
I can't answer that, Mr. Hessen, because it's all new ground, and we're plowing new ground completely. We did this the same way for a long time, and I'll just say it seems to have worked. The mayor has made a request that anything that involves a nonprofit and any event in the park go before the nonprofit committee. So beyond that and reviewing what Mr. Gilly will bring us, I happen to be on that committee. I have no idea. But if whatever happens there, I think next year we've got to have a little bit better designed procedure of how we're going to go about this instead of sitting here at the Parks Board meeting in May talking about events that are going to be happening this year that will be voted on in 2 weeks. So I can't, beyond that, I don't know if there is an answer other than we need a much better procedure if we decide to do that. And I don't even know if that will be the procedure, that it stays at the nonprofit committee. That is just a request from the mayor. There is no legislation that says we have to do that. That's the best answer I can give you.
Mr. Frank?
Just as a point of clarification, all of these things that come before us and ask, special events, they could still come and ask for permission, but instead of us helping host a good event, the entire burden would fall on them, on the organization, to make that happen.
At this point, if it stays at the level it's at, the things that we've done to help these groups in the past, if they want to have their event this year, the USA Softball National Tournament, for example, we helped them with rental vans and some hospitality. If it stayed where it's at, I would be making a phone call after the second reading of the budget and saying, I hope you all still come here, but we will not be paying for rental vans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of my question. So this reduction would basically
cripple,
appear to be very unwelcoming to groups that are already not seeking profit to come and want to use facilities. Okay.
Some of them are profit makers. Some of the events are profit makers, but it also makes us money when they come too.
Yeah.
So that, and it's all a game. I mean, all throughout the whole area, it's a game of recruiting people. 4 years ago, we had 18 special events and hardly any tournaments. If you look back 4 or 5 years ago, we had hardly any. And some of us really made a concerted effort to go start getting people, and now we're at a level that everybody around here wishes they were at.
So, can you go ahead?
Yeah, to put a dollar amount on that, because you've shared with us economic impact. So for just one tournament, GMB tournament, that was an estimated economic impact of $1.1 million for our local community.
You did say million.
Million?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so as a city, we're not going to help. I'm sorry if I'm not understanding. And that's just one tournament.
That's, yeah.
Okay. Let's make sure I understood that.
Andy, for clarification for me, what exactly are we with this? I don't know how to say this. Before I say what I want to say as a comment, I want to know what I'm voting on tonight, whether I can vote yes, no, abstain, or what am I voting to approve what we're talking about wanting?
I can just say what's been done in the past. Y'all been up here longer than I have.
Okay.
There's been some years the budget has come across here and everybody's said, this is great. Motion to recommend approval. You're recommending approval to BOMA at this point.
for what they're proposing.
Right, or not recommending. You're just like a committee when a new development comes in. You're recommending it or not. A couple of years ago, we had some reductions, and you all voted to recommend that the board consider please fully funding the parks budget request. You can, I can't tell you what to do, so, I would just like to be funded at what we are this year during the COVID year. If you want me to be blunt about it.
Okay.
So again, for clarification on special events, when you've indicated that based on the special events budget that's been put forth, what would remain would be the fireworks and the TSSAA championship. So Christmas tree lighting ceremony, breakfast with Santa, trick or treat at Drake's Creek, hometown jam, fishing rodeo, special needs fishing rodeo. Those events would not go forward, potentially going forward.
Those events could still happen. We're going to have to go solicit sponsors. We would have to find some major sponsors to make some of those larger events happen. We would be coming to Civitan or whoever for more funds for breakfast with Santa. I mean, they already give 1,000, but.
Mr. Gilly, it's probably time for me to get fired because we have, just like Mr. Golden said, if we're not smart enough to recognize what the park system does for this city, and if we're not smart enough, two different people here tonight have talked about our facilities and have talked about how proud they are of our park system. I am one of those people. I've watched it from square one, and I've watched it till today. And I've seen people that have come through this park system stay here because they were part of our park system. If there's anything that's going to screw that up, I'm just very, very against that. We have to maintain our park system the way it is to get people to come here. We've talked about beer. We've talked about so many different things. But we've got to maintain what we've got now, and that is one of the finest park systems in Tennessee. Not just coming from me, but from people that call me and people that have been through here. So I'm going to say it again, which is probably a fireable offense, but if we're not smart enough to recognize what this park system, not only the land, but the lake and everything else around it, if we're not smart enough to do that, then it's a sad state of affairs. So if I get fired, that's fine, but I've been thinking about that all day, so there you go. Yes, sir.
I just want to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying. I've been on the Parks Board for a long time. My vote's going to be no, and I'll tell you why. If we can just look at one tournament that's fixing to come down the road in the middle of June, that's going to fill up all the hotels around here and put people in restaurants around here coming off of a COVID year where they all almost closed the doors. And we're going to take that away. That'd be one tournament that would probably go by the wayside.
Yes.
And we're going to take that away, just that one deal, not to mention all the others, then it's probably time for me to be fired too, because I can't support it. I hope that the BOMA will look at this and reconsider it, because I see emails coming down the road all the time on things that Andy sends out saying how good a job everybody's doing, the parks looks great. I hear comments that aldermen make about, the parks are great, we really need them, the parks are full. We got to make something happen on this, guys. We just do. And I know we don't have a vote on it, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yes, sir.
Director Gilly, and looking over we touched the base on special events, but we also have a big one in here for recreational athletic, about almost 41% reduction. what items in there would be removed and/or opportunities lost in that area for recreational athletic?
So recreation athletic has been an interesting line item because when we took out basketball and moved that to Civitan, no one was really kind of sure what that exact impact would be. You know, this year we're going to end up spending around $120,000 in that line item. That pays for officials, for equipment, for uniforms, for leagues we run, and other programs that we offer. So I can agree that it probably does not. It could probably be cut from what it was this past year. But by the time we get through ordering new equipment at the end of this year, it'll be around between 110 and 120. So to go to 90, it's going to be. We'll have to figure that out. We'll have to take a look at what exact leagues we need to make sure we offer. We'll have to be very careful about things like that.
And I know it's a hard number to kind of wrap our arms around, but the leagues overall, have we seen an increase in attendance and participation from across the board, or have we seen a reduction on any other recreational activities or clubs that have decided not to participate going forward?
No, it goes. In the adult leagues, there's been some fluctuation in terms of maybe we didn't have adult softball one year, but we had more kickball.
Right.
Maybe we didn't have as many summer high school basketball teams, but we had double the number in the winter. So it's this past year is not a good judge because of everything that was going on. You know, we've had to throw in some new programs out there that don't even involve going to the park. We've got esports and different things like that. So it's. Now, in terms of the actual civic group leagues, you've seen a dramatic increase in those
In the
over
youth
year.
sports.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is
But that
what it's
line
all
item
about.
is not necessarily, that doesn't involve the civic groups running the leagues.
So I would say it drastically affects my job every day. The reason why I'm here is to run those leagues that we run and to bring new programs in leagues. So cutting that, you're pretty much just saying, yeah, just do what we've always done. Don't change anything. And I'm sorry, but that's not what I came here to do when I moved back here. I came here to bring new programs. I came here to change some things. And some of those numbers are going to look a little different for the probably next 2 years. To change a culture takes 4 years. That's why football coaches get a 4-year contract most of the time. It takes 4 years to change how the people here think, operate, what we offer. We've done the data. We've done the research to look. And I hope that from the survey that's about to come back, you're going to see what we're proposing and what we've been looking at backs what the citizens are saying too. So I do feel strongly about that because it completely affects my job.
I would say also part of your packet was a preliminary view of the Parks Master Plan. You all got a glimpse of that. That's going to be over 100-page document once you get it, and it will show that our department is significantly underfunded compared to municipalities, not just in our area but across the country. And that's not me trying to pander. That's not me trying to get money. That's just a fact. So it will also show what Wade just talked about, what the community wants. Like one of the number one things the survey showed is that the community wanted an amphitheater. Well, what does that tell you they want to see? They want to see special events at an amphitheater. They probably involve live music. So I think I've said enough.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I
sir.
speak?
Surely.
Me personally, I'm really, really frustrated with this deal with special events. Personally, because that's the stuff that I have done up here with all of you guys at the parks for the last, been off of it for 6 years now, but we did it for 12 years.
Yes, sir.
And basically I did it because of Drakes Creek Park and you guys. I've just been honored to be on this board with you guys for almost 3 years. The special events deals is my deal. Not just mine, but I take it very personal. Mr. Pike, Mr. Hudson, you said no, and you would be fired, but no, I totally disagree with it, and I hope that the BOMA guys get together and do something to make this change this around because I'm very seldom am I speechless or do I say a whole lot either. Appreciate all of you guys with what you do to make all these events happen. Your guys, your staff, it stands up. All these events stand up because of you guys. Let's just wait and see what happens. I think it said June 2nd,
Yeah.
June 8th. We'll back up and see what happens then. No matter what, appreciate all you guys, really.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Mr. Bowler?
Again, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Gilly, if we recommended to fully fund the special events and to fund the recreation athletic line item at $120,000, is there anything in here that you can't live with?
There's a line item for assets, 7,000 and up. That is at 31,000. 13,000 of that, we're required to make a payment on a mower. So after that, we would have $18,000 for assets for the year. Yes, I don't think we need to beat a dead horse or go down every line item, but the inmate crew expense, we need those inmates working in the park. We get 9,000 hours of labor from them just for feeding them McDonald's and Wendy's. Overtime, you guys know how much overtime our guys work, and they don't even cash it out. They take comp time for it. But the ability to do it at what they've been doing it at needs to be there.
Well,
The maintenance of parks going from 165 to 140. It hadn't been 140 in a long time. That's what we use to fix fences and paint and do things. Sure.
One thing I'd like to add too is that we have the oldest fleet in the park or in the city. We have basically hand-me-down equipment, hand-me-down vehicles from other departments. And that's fine, we get by with it, but it takes money to maintain that. And when you have the oldest fleet, the oldest equipment, you need to have a proper maintenance budget to maintain it. So I'll stress that that's a pretty key part. And I think it's about a $35,000 reduction between equipment, vehicle, and parks. I mean, we're running to the very end right now as we get to the end of this year. So I'm not quite sure how anybody would expect anything to be the same as it has been in the past, in the future at that level.
And Mr. Hudson, there's not a person that can go through that park and see anything but how pretty that park is because of that old equipment. Just think if you had a little bit more modern day equipment. Gosh, I can't believe we're talking about this, but hey, thanks.
Mr. Bowler? Sorry.
Yeah, what I'm concerned with is that we're seeing this really as our last chance to comment before it goes to BOMA. And,
Can I help you with that?
Yeah, please.
I hear what you're saying, and the fact of the matter is, this version could change before it even gets to BOMA, June the 8th. This is the first draft. So it could be that y'all do nothing, take no action, and once we really see the first draft on June the 8th, or if we see another draft before June the 8th, we get back together and ask the chairman to call a special called meeting and come up and take a look at it. I don't want to put everybody out of the house another night, but
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be
Right, listen,
trying to be wise about it.
I don't think there's anybody up here that likes this at all. I don't think anybody up here is in favor of it the way it looks on a lot of different levels. About what it says about the Parks Department, where kind of the importance it's being given right now. So I don't think there's anybody up here that likes it. And the reason I ask you about those, if we could address 2 or 3 or 4 of the items is, I'm afraid it's going to be one of those where it's all or nothing. And I have no idea what the will of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen is. I would like for the board to send the strongest budget for us, for you, that has the best shot of being passed.
So if it were to change between now and June the 8th, it would be the mayor's budget. It's his proposal until June the 8th. So, and like I said, it's a draft, and it could change between now and June the 8th.
Mr. Brown, do you think you could maybe comment on that, sir?
Why did I feel that you might ask me to do it? I would have several comments. It's, I lean pretty parks heavy. I've always done that. I'm not in the parks anymore. I'm getting too old to play anything that we have. I was thinking about playing rugby, but Brian, I just don't think I could walk off the field very well, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just take the role of a Parks Board member sitting here tonight instead of a liaison. If I was a Parks Board member, and I will be for a couple minutes, I think I would probably feel a little bit taken back, that we've done all this work over the years, and now we've asked to be maybe more accountable for our dollars to nonprofits. Please don't let that offend you. It would offend me a little bit if I was sitting here as a Park Board member. I think I understand a little bit where the mayor's coming from on maybe wanting some numbers, some hard figures on the benefit to the city dollar-wise. I don't know that we can get those. I don't think we can hire somebody. I don't think our new COO wants to go around the hotels and motels and see how many people checked in that's going to play in the tournament this weekend. I don't want to, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I think we all know that events bring money to the city. The events that concern me, and I think concern some of your other BOMA members, are the events that really enhance the community itself. Not teams coming from Murfreesboro Plan or someplace like that, but people that live here and pay tax dollars here, and those things that benefit us, like fishing rodeos and the possibility of it having an amphitheater one of these days, and kids doing rec on the ball fields that live here every day. I don't think that anybody will want to cut those or cut anything that goes with them. I can't answer for 12 other people. I just answer for me. And as your liaison, then whatever you recommend me to do, I will go to BOMA and express your feelings and my feelings at the same time, because I'll have a vote on that. I'm also a member of the nonprofit committee, just by being chairman of the general committee, which sometimes I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but it is what it is. But I'll be looking at those things that Mr. Gilly bring before the nonprofit committee that have always just been kind of taken for granted to be in this budget and taken care of, and we've done it. I think the biggest thing that BOMA has to look at, the nonprofit committee has to look at, is there a trust level there with our parks director, our assistant parks directors, and this board of what they want to put in the parks, what they want to put their stamp on. Do we trust this board and those people that are paid to lead it and those people that are not paid? And I trust every one of you. So I'll tell you where I'm at. I feel that y'all do a great job. Our park system is stellar. But you tell me what kind of vote that you want me to express, and I think I know what that's going to be, and I'll express it as strongly as I can. But that's how I would weigh in on it. If we can figure out a way to put some maybe stronger numbers to, yes, we had this many in the Hampton Inn over the weekend for the rugby tournament. I don't know if anybody's coming in and staying for that, Brian, but probably somebody will. Yeah, they'll stay all night. So you're the only one to talk to out there other than Jesse. He's tired. He's been here all day. So I don't know really how to get those numbers unless we make phone calls. But I think we've just taken them as a given, and the given's probably correct.
Mr. Brown, my biggest concern, I think, is what Mr. Bowler brought up.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to see us get blindsided by not acting, but yet there's nothing about this I like. So, I mean, that's my opinion. I don't have a vote on it, but that's my concern, is exactly what Mr. Bowler said. I just don't want us to wake up one morning and find out, oh, shoot, we messed up. So,
Yeah. Well, I understand your concerns. I understand Mr. Bowler's, and I would tell you, our COO's sitting here tonight. He's heard your concerns. He meets with the mayor on the budget. I know he's doing that, and will continue to do that. I think we're just looking for common ground to try to get all this to come together the way it should to satisfy everybody. You know, you're not always, I've been doing budget city now, this is 15 years. And I've never seen one just go bang, 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 it's over with. There's always a little bit of wrestling and arguing, and I want this and I want that, and you get this and you get that, and eventually it ends up that you're okay. You know, I think as a Parks Board, you want to be okay. I don't know that, and as a Parks Director and Associate Director and stuff, y'all want to be okay. And I think our COO wants to be okay too. So I would tell you that he's sitting here tonight for a reason. It's because he doesn't have a home to go to right now. It's one reason he's sitting there, but he's heard those concerns. I've heard them. I'll take them back to BOMA. And this may, budget, my guess would be, will change again probably in the next few days. It always does, and there will be a different version probably come out. And nonprofit committee meets next Tuesday night on June the 1st. Contact those folks, let them know your feelings. I'll let them know your feelings. So, it satisfy you, any?
Mr. Golden?
Yeah, so I want people that are watching this and listening to this to understand that, when we're talking about budgets, it is about what you get for what you spend, and I realize we have to prioritize. So, for example, talk about parks maintenance. One of the ideas, I guess, Andy, that you've indicated is that decrease that the soccer turf program would have to be put on pause or would have to stop. That would threaten having competition level grass for Tennessee United and Hendersonville Soccer Club, right? And go ahead, just tell me if I'm correct in that assumption.
That is the biggest increase in our parks maintenance budget the last 2 years, is we've really poured into all the, not just soccer, but all the fields, and getting with the golf management group who runs the golf course and figuring out what can we do to get to another level of turf care. So,
And,
yes.
and having now gone around many different cities, playing on lots of different surfaces, I can tell you that it's a gem, and there is a way for us to measure what we get for that investment. And so, if you look at, again, this is just one event, sent out economic impact study that is sent out to us as a board and to BOMA. Tennessee United's spring tournament brought a little over 1,500 individuals to town. I meant somewhere north of $900,000 in local economic impact, including $19,000 in direct tax benefit to the city. That's what we get for that investment. That's not, in the ether or in the air. Like, that's actual dollars spent at restaurants that are right next to where we're sitting tonight. And so we have to be smarter than looking at it and saying, well, everybody just needs to tighten their belt. I get that. But you invest in revenue generating. That's smart. That's how we grow as a community. And it just seems really short-sighted. I really do hope that we can be smarter about all of this, and kicking maintenance down the road and not investing in having quality surfaces, to me, that is woefully short-sighted.
Mr. Head?
You know, obviously, we have to be realistic. Everything in the budget we'd like, we're not going to get, never do. I can tell you, not just from a tournament perspective in having the park filled on a daily basis with rec sports from this Parks Department, special events that in the business, and I'm not going to name names, but it's a $10,000 to $20,000 a week effect of one business that sits next to the park. So somewhere, if the park's full, whether it's a special event, a tournament, or whatever else, that's $10,000 to $20,000 more in sales that we get, which in return creates sales tax for the state, the county, the city. You take away and empty the park, well, that's $10,000 to $20,000 less a week at one business. Multiply that by at least probably 30 businesses that are within 2 to 3 miles of the park. So now you're talking $300,000 to $400,000. Multiply that out. You know, the park is the crown jewel of this city. Some people may not believe that, but for 27 years that I've lived in this city, and for 27 years that I've volunteered in this park in some form or fashion, it's the crown jewel. People move to Hendersonville because of your park system and because of the school system. I ain't ever heard anybody moved over here because Amazon was here or because the industrial side of the park was, but it's always the parks and the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Head.
In the interest of time, I'm not sure I'm hearing a lot of dissent among the members here. We're all definitely in support, so I don't know if I don't really, it doesn't sit well with me to do nothing and wait, because it seems a little passive. And it seems like we might be in a reactionary mode. So I don't mind throwing out a motion so we can move to some action. And my motion would be to, it may have to be two motions. The first one is to reject this, followed by the Parks Board to propose carrying the fiscal year 21 budget forward. I looked at every single line item, and with the 21 budget, the Parks Department has done what we know we have done, or what you guys have done, and come in under budget. So carrying forward the fiscal year 21 budget maintains a level of service and shows and proves fiscal responsibility. With that motion, I think I also like the concept that on June 8th, if it is not satisfactory, we reserve the right for a special called meeting to further discuss and maybe go into some more details. But I don't like the concept of doing nothing. So if you want me to restate any of that, I will.
Your first motion.
My first motion is to reject the 2022 budget that has been presented.
Second, Mr. Perry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Now then, your second motion, sir.
My second motion is to present, if it's proper, to present carrying forward next year the current, like basically maintain status quo, carry forward the 21 budget for consideration.
Mr. Head seconded.
Who seconded?
Mr. Head.
Mr. Head, second. Under discussion, I'm going to go on a little bit farther because maybe we ain't got fired yet. I am far from a money man. That became really evident when my wife passed away, because my wife did all the money. She took over all of that stuff, and when she left, it all fell on me. But, you know, I learned really quick what was important and what wasn't important. In everything that you guys have said, I learned what I could get the best out of my money and do that. And again, I'm going to be I'm redundant as heck, but if we're not smart enough to see that, then we're in trouble. So that would be my discussion. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. I think that's that.
Did you have a part on it, Darren? Did you have a car park coming back, or?
Do we need to make a motion on the third part about the?
My question on that is, we don't need to make a motion to reserve the option of a special called meeting, because the chairman can do that at will, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right, isn't it?
So
That's correct.
So we're going to see something that was first reading on the 8th, and at that point, the chairman can get us back together, and I'm
And at the
more than willing to give up an evening to
And
sit
at
and
the
talk about
appropriate
this.
time, Mr. Gilly, you and I will get together and take care of that.
That was to make sure that publicly we are not presenting all or none, to Mr. Bowler's point, and not boxing Director Gilly and his staff into an impossible situation should my motion or should our recommendation now come back or be amended.
Very well done. Yes, sir. Whew, thank goodness. I hope we're smart. I really do. Information Civic Group, April financials. Any questions, Mr. Gilly, on that? Have you had a chance to look through that? Okay. This is one of my favorite line items on this. I'm sorry?
That's right.
This is one of my favorite line items of this whole thing. Discipline, none. Somebody doing something right, so that's a good thing.
Well, just wait till next month.
All right.
Got some good ones coming for you.
Debbie Downer. Why don't you just ruin a good thing, man? Special events list, it's back there. Miss Wise does a wonderful job on that. Where is Miss? Is she down there?
Miss Hamlin, she is.
I hadn't heard a word out of her down there. All right. Under staff reports, Recreation Coordinator, Miss Hamlin. When are we going to get you a real seat up here? Hey. Yeah, it is.
The Raptors baseball program has ended, and we've moved into kickball. We had a good run with the baseball. It's been fun to watch them try to shift gears and learn how to kick a ball that's rolling instead of trying to catch a ball and throw a smaller ball. But some of the kids this week when we started, they had to literally stop the ball, place it on the plate, and then kick it. But we'll work on that progression of running and kicking at the same time. Andrea, I think is it June 11th is the Special Needs Fishing Rodeo. So that's coming up on June the 11th on that Friday afternoon. And then I'm getting ready for Kids Club. We will be meeting at Merrill Hyde thanks to Darren Frank. The program will run 8:30 to 1:30. We will begin June 14th. They go Monday through Friday, and we will end 1 week earlier this year on July 16th, dropping down to 5 weeks just because of certain situations. We're just glad that we now have a location to have it. We do have a few open spots, so if parents are still interested, they can call in and come in and get registered. They do bring their lunch and drinks daily. They will drop off at the front of the school building this year instead of the side. And we hope to take a couple of field trips weekly, and they do cost extra. All parents were given paperwork at the registration time that is due back the first day of camp, and I'm beginning interviewing tomorrow to hire camp workers. And that's where I stand. Any questions? Okay.
Ms. Hamlin, I will say one thing. If you've ever watched Cindy work at an event, if you've ever seen how she interacts, how she builds up our park system and everything she does, I worked for her one time, and may or may not work for her again this year. I hadn't decided that part of it yet. But you're the most dedicated son of a gun I've ever seen.
Well,
And
I appreciate that, but
well,
I am getting old.
Well, so
Older.
am I, but that's
I'm
like-
not old, but I'm getting older.
Yeah,
Andy
but-
and I have had this talk a little bit, like,
You know,
there's gonna come that time, I've gotta start shifting this responsibility.
You know, Mr.
your
Chairman.
heart hadn't got old. That's what I like about it. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
why Cindy's up here, because I was going to wait and save this for the round table, but I'm not. I've had the pleasure to work with Cindy, good and bad, for 27 years. She set me straight a few times, okay?
I will do that.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. For the two people, as you say, that listen to this meeting, at some point, Miss Hamlin's going to decide to enjoy life with her husband, who's a good friend of mine as well. And we talk all the time in the parks on Saturday mornings when the Raptors are out there and everything else. We cannot let what this woman has accomplished in all the years she's been in the park with this Raptors program and all the other things that Miss Hamlin does, which people don't have a clue.
A clue.
A clue. Somebody has got to come over and step up and help Miss Hamlin at some point, or take this program over, because this is a special program. Just like Mary's Magical Playground is a special place that nobody else in Middle Tennessee has, to my knowledge, or they want one like what we have. That's what makes this Parks Department and this city, when it comes to things like what Miss Hamlin does in the Mary's Magical Playground, that's what makes the Parks Department the crown jewel of Middle Tennessee, if not the state.
And I will say, Cindy, and I think you'll remember this, the most special thing that anybody in this world has ever given me was by one of the special education or special needs kids. And I have that framed and on my wall. You are just special. That's all there
Well,
is
it's
to
not
it.
me, it's them,
I
and
know,
they're my
but-
life.
Yeah, but you're leading us around though, so. Thank you,
I'm
Ms. Hammond.
trying.
Any more questions?
I just want to be clear, she's not retiring tonight.
Well, we know that.
Okay, I was making
Hey.
sure.
Not yet, but Jimmy and I do stand at the
I
ballpark
know,
on Saturdays
I
and talk
know.
about when
I
we're
got
gonna
it,
have
I
to get
got
out
it.
of this.
I'm
You're
sorry,
not
I didn't mean
retiring,
to let
but-
the bag out, Cindy.
You're not retiring, but me and Pike might get fired. So.
Some people think I've already retired, but I haven't.
Thank you, Cindy.
Any questions?
Recreation Coordinator, Ms. Evans.
Kind of hard to follow that one up, man.
We're proud of you, by the way, too, so
Yeah, appreciate it.
not as much, but, you know.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm earning my stripes.
That's all right.
I understand. Just a couple updates. Our softball league, men's league, is halfway done after tonight. Just so I know I kind of talked about this earlier, but about new stuff. 5 of the 6 teams that are playing in this league are new to our parks. 2 of them actually came from White House because they didn't have a league, so they're driving down here to play with us. But again, that's because Durham Farms fielded 3 teams. So the one neighborhood in our city has 3 teams. So our men's basketball league started last Wednesday. 7 of the 10 teams are new. They have not played in our leagues. And I do go back and check and look and see those captains are Hendersonville residents and do live here. So again, 7 of those 10 teams new to our leagues. Our Babe Ruth 13 to 15-year-old teams, they've been practicing the last couple weeks. They start playing games next week. We currently have 8 scheduled games. Only 4 of them, or 2 are here right now. They're going to be playing a lot of games against Donaldson and West Nashville. But that's cool. It's unique, a little bit different than how we normally would do it. It's just a team of 14, 13 to 15-year-olds. They have a coach. They're playing as the Rays, the Hendersonville Rays, essentially, and we're scheduling games for them. T-ball starts next week, 5U and 6U, and of that, 8 of the 10 coaches are new coaches that have not coached with us before, and this is their first time their kids are playing in our leagues. So, fall baseball sign-ups start next week. So I know crazy we're talking about some leagues just starting, but fall baseball sign-ups do start next week, and we'll go on through the whole month of June. And then Quick Ball, one of our new programs that you guys approved that we are running over at Framework. We have 39 children participating in that program. It's hilarious. It's controlled chaos, but it's been going really well. And If I would encourage you, if you've never looked it up, I would look into it because we're actually not going to have 5U T-ball this fall. We are only going to offer 5U quick ball. The kids that play in this 5U league historically, and you're from California, so I know they've been doing it in Cali. It's a big deal out west, but the kids that play in 5U quick ball go into 6U coach pitch a lot better. They stay with it and they transition a lot better in sport. So we hope to see that this fall. That's it.
Question?
Can you hit a quick ball, curveball? I just want to know. Can you
Okay,
hit it?
so I get really excited about new stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen the huge, like all of a sudden this is all over the place.
Yes.
Like wiffle ball is huge right now.
yes.
It
Yes,
is. It is massive. Like on Instagram, they have a national league, and they have 300,000 followers. And ESPN just bought out the rights to actually broadcast them at least once or twice a year. I mean, I know we don't have that field, but man, it makes me really want a wiffle ball field. Give me a small field. We can make it work. But yeah, you can hum it. You can do all these weird pitches and stuff.
I watched on YouTube the other night a home run derby, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. So, wiffle ball.
It's quick ball. The ball just does different things.
No wonder I've never excelled. I don't know all the rules here, for God's
Oh, it's
sakes.
awesome, man.
I quit.
You couldn't hit it.
I wouldn't try. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Evans. The wonderful Ms. Wise,
All right.
step up to the podium.
I'm a little short person here with short arms. With summer starting, it's pretty much full steam ahead with baseball and softball season. The senior women had its annual tournament the middle of May, not March. And the TMSSAA had its baseball and softball tournament over the weekend. USPS had its company softball family fun day on Saturday, and we have Game 7's World Championship coming up next month. The Memorial Day Classic 15K, 5K race is going to be on Memorial Day once again. And we also have the Isaacs concert Memorial Day as well, which is new this year. So if you don't have your ticket now, make sure to get one. How many do we have left?
We have 116 before this meeting.
Okay. The Water Warriors is returning again on June 5th. And then as Cindy mentioned, the fishing rodeo is going to be on Friday, June 11th for the special needs and on June 12th for the community. The Twitty Classic is coming back on the weekend of June 11th. The 3-versus-3 soccer tournament is going to be that same weekend. Smart Steps Dance Recital is returning this year on June 15th. Tennessee United is having their soccer camp June 14th through the 17th. And then to close out the month of June, the Hendersonville Hometown Jam and the Live Love Nashville's benefit concert that you guys approved last month is going to be on June 22nd. So as you can see on the events calendar, if you looked at it, there's a lot of events, games, and tournaments going on these next couple of months. So it's going to be a busy time for us.
Any question of the wonderful Ms. Wise? Thank you, Ms. Wise. Assistant Maintenance Supervisor, Mr. Gannett.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Finished up phase 2 of some greenway concrete repairs that we've been working on. I think you heard me talk about last month that we had done some repairs over on the geotube at Memorial Park, got that completed. And then we headed over to Drakes Creek Park. We still had some areas of asphalt on the greenway that had been damaged last year in a flood that we had never got back to. We were lucky enough to secure some funds to work on that. So all areas that were open, gravel, not finished, have been addressed. On top of, we addressed an area on the soccer side where the roots coming up from the trees are starting to disturb the asphalt. Y'all know, because y'all walked down there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough to get all of that, but I did get a huge area of it that's been a problem. So we'll see how things go. Hopefully we can continue on with that upgrade. Irrigation's up and running on the athletic fields. Grounds crew have begun edging athletic fields. Now that the Bermuda's going to start doing its thing, we'll be doing more edging to keep those straight lines and edges on the infields. We're finishing up some more upgrades. As you guys know, we've been trying to do the LED light thing anywhere we can, changing bulbs over to LED. We've been working on that for about 3 years, and we just keep doing a little bit at a time. We just did the Veterans Park restroom and concession building. That'll be finished. I think we just got a couple left over there to do. they last longer, they're brighter, and they're more efficient. So the more we can do, it seems like it's helping out. Lights have been added to the cornhole boxes at Shelter 8. We got that done. So anybody that rents Shelter 8, those cornhole boxes are lit now, or anybody that wants to go down there and play in the evening when it cools off. That's a nice added feature. And like Andrea said, the events and tournaments, the guys just continue to step up to the plate and make that happen on the weekends, and that's a big thing. Anybody any questions? Just let me know.
Question?
I have not a question, but a statement about the trails look wonderful where they've been repaired. And I know we've talked a lot about budgets tonight and being fiscally responsible and the trust we have. There's been a lot of work along with that on filling in around them with dirt. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Granat, but I believe that dirt is dirt that was used and dug up over where the new hockey rinks are going to go. We were able to repurpose. Instead of buying dirt,
Yes,
we
you're
were able
correct.
to repurpose dirt and make all of that smoothed out, and it looks really good. They've done a lot of work over there, and it does look really good.
Thank you. Yeah, we had some areas that have been needing to be backfilled from the floods. Each time we have a flood, we just get more erosion after erosion. And as you guys know, topsoil's not cheap. So when they started stockpiling the dirt over at the horse barn from the inline, I had 4 guys 3 days last week. Just all they did was haul dirt 8 hours a day for 3 days. And it made a huge impact, as you can see. We're not even close to being done. But, hopefully our old dump trucks and our old equipment last so we can continue doing that.
You got any mole traps, Jeremy?
410 shotgun, sir.
What time will you be over? I've asked him kindly to leave, and he's not, so probably going to have to stick something on. Assistant Director, Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this point, rec soccer, flag football, lacrosse, and rugby are all done for the spring seasons. Tennessee United is still the one group still playing. They have a few teams that made the state cup this weekend, so they'll practice throughout the rest of this week. Then they'll have their tryouts next week for their older kids. Last week they had tryouts for their younger kids for next year. Last week, the rec soccer adult league started their season. They'll run through the beginning of July. They have about almost 200 players, 18 teams, and then we approved tonight Tennessee United's adult league, which will start in a couple of weeks. Then in June, we have Tennessee United player camp, and we'll have the Hendersonville High School soccer tournament. We'll have a rugby camp for some of the top players and all the Southeast coming into town. There'll be a camp, and then they'll play some games. So that's a pretty big deal for Mr. Silkwood and everything he's been doing over there. And then starting in June, we'll also have the football community conditioning program gearing up for the football season. Other than that, I'm sure you all have seen the updates as far as everything that's going on with soccer and the Connect Committee. The Connect Committee is no longer, but hopefully we're still moving in a positive direction with those groups working together. And I just want to thank Mr. Pike for all the time and commitment he did for that. We really appreciate everything you did for the Connect Committee. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Long. Assistant Director, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you there, Mr. Chairman. Couple local league stuff. The Fast Pitch League finishing up this week, their tournaments tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. The middle school Fast Pitch All-Star Game, talked to those guys this weekend, and that is going to be Thursday night also. That was the 8 teams that played February, March-ish, and finished up their regular season, and now they're going to come back and do an all-star game. Middle school baseball, they finished up their regular season and had 3 tournaments at the end of the season, and then also had a couple of nights of all-stars for the first time. So that turned out really well. I think a lot of people appreciated that, parents, players, and so forth. 710 baseball, believe it or not, they have made it through all the rain the last 2 months, and have finished up most of their tournaments. I think there's 2 more 6 and under games, and then they will be finished with their regular season. All-Star night must be Thursday because they're doing their All-Star games on Thursday night also. I think it's like 7 through 12-year-olds. And then they will have starting practice after that for their postseason play. Just the regular open leagues are practicing still through Civitan. Hockey, again, that's a great thing. If y'all were able to make it out to the groundbreaking, that's a big thing that's going to happen down the road. Let me tell you, that's going to bring a lot of people, and that could be that'll be one of the things that in the Mid-South or of all the parts of the country, we'll have one of the only ones with covered rinks. So I expect big things out of that. For Mr. Pike, the senior men are still playing. If he ever still wants to join, the 45s, 55s, and 65s are all up and running. A couple nights of rain, but they'll make those up. The full count, the full count rhythm that you all approved, the college baseball / 18 to 22-year-olds are going to start games in June on Field 3, so we're expecting some good things out of that coming up. That could be very interesting. Good baseball, good minor league baseball. Adult baseball, the group out of Nashville has been well pleased. That's the 18 and over, 32 and 45 groups. They send different groups up here different nights. They're doing well on that end of it. And then this weekend we've got the U-Trip softball tournament. Last couple more Memorial Days, hadn't had a whole lot, but he's looking. I looked this morning, 22 to 25 teams playing Saturday and Sunday for this weekend. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Parks Director, Mr. Gilly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be kind of brief. I want to make sure everybody, the two people you said that were watching, know that the Freedom Festival will occur this year, July 3rd. Still working on all the details, working with the chamber on that, but that will happen July the 3rd. I think Andrea covered a lot of the other good events we've got coming up in the park. You go to get the Isaacs tickets for Memorial Day or the Hometown Jam on June 22nd, you can go to hendersonvilljam.com. Those are on that website, so anybody watching out there can get those. The TSSAA middle school tournaments this past weekend were a big success. The staff from the state office, I think we put on a good show for them, from facilities to umpires to these folks, our staff, to maintenance, to Sumner County Tourism, to the Rotary Club. All those people had to work together to make that happen. And hopefully they're going to come back to us with hopefully a proposal for a couple-year contract if we can work that out. I just want to thank you all for your support, not just up here tonight, but you guys call and text and email, and you guys keep us motivated at times when sometimes we aren't. And this staff is the best there could possibly be. You all know that. I think people that work with them out in the community know that. But there hadn't been a day that I've not wanted to come to work since I started here 3 years ago.
Oh, boy.
So I don't even look at it as work. And I think there's an old quote that says, find something in life you don't think is work, and you won't have to work a day in your life, or something like that. So, we'll get through whatever we got to get through, and we'll keep putting on a good show for everybody. That's all I got.
I meant to ask you, is anything big happening anywhere in the park August 12th at all?
Big Bubba's Bash, I think, is happening.
What?
18th of August.
Oh, 18th.
18th of August.
I would have been there the wrong night.
Even taking up the whole weekend.
I would have been there the wrong night.
Big. That is if the nonprofit committee approves it.
You sure y'all want me up here? I don't know. Let's do a round table. Mr. Perry?
Thank you.
Mr. Bowler?
Nothing for me.
Mr. Pike?
I just have two things. I know we've been here a long time tonight, but I just want to first of all thank Mr. Brown as a liaison.
Yes, sir.
And a longtime parks supporter. I appreciate your time and effort that you give to not only Bowman, but the Parks Department. It's a true love of mine, and I really appreciate what you do. Second of all, kind of piggybacking on what Nathan said, I have full trust in our Parks Department and the staff that we have.
Spike, turn your microphone on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me.
Don't start again.
I'm not starting again, but I want to say, and I'll say for the two people that watch this thing out here, I have full support and full trust in what our Parks Department does.
Oh, yeah.
And how they reuse everything that they have to try to save as much money as they can, yet put out a stellar program time in and time out.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I'll just leave it at that.
Glad you didn't start over again. Mr. Bennett? Can't trump that. Mr. Frank?
Yeah, there's a real good reciprocity agreement between the school system and the Parks Department, and every school benefits from that. And just the reason why I bring that up is because it's a pretty fun time. We got lots of school teams headed to the state tournament. Starts tomorrow, so good luck to all those schools, all those teams, those kids. Every single one of them grew up in this Parks Department, in these gyms, on these fields, and has really benefited from that agreement. So welcome to our city as well. But good luck to those teams. It'll be a fun week.
Mr. Frank, add on to that, I want to make sure it's public that Sumner County Schools provided athletic trainer for the TSSAA middle school state tournaments at no cost as part of our school park agreement, and also the high school baseball and softball teams from Hendersonville were able to work the tournament as scorekeepers and PA announcers, and will get funds to their programs. So that's just another way they do partner together. That's accurate.
Mr. Golden?
Yeah, it's just to point out, we have coming up on the Facebook page for Honor the Game, we have our Sportsmanship Superhero Series. So we're not, we're going to be highlighting a number of people that were nominated throughout the spring seasons, including, I believe, 8 or 9, hopefully from Hendersonville Soccer Club. So they were very much supportive of the program. So if you're not already following the Honor the Game program, do that. Some really cool stories, some really awesome individuals doing the right thing on our fields and in our gyms. So thank you.
Mr. White? Mr. Ted? And right down there only Mr. Brown? I want to. Are you saying adios or what? I like that. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Pike, Mr. Bennett, second. Any discussion? No. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're out of here.